that a lot of people had the idea of people just showing up and pulling people out of schools and pulling people out of Home Depot and pulling people that were just hardworking people that maybe snuck over here because they didn't have a legal way to get over here. But since they've been here, they've been good people and they're a part of communities. And that's what freaks people out, because when people thought about ICE, they thought, great, we're going to get rid of the gang members. They didn't think, great, you're going to get rid of a landscaper.
So, Tim Miller, to you and to all the smart conversations you have with smart people,
So, what's up, y'all? This is Tim Miller of the Bulwark on MSNBC, breaking down this confusion that, once again, Joe Rogan has about Trump. Joe Rogan is not sure what's going on with the Trump policies right now. Of course, with the sad, murdering of Charlie Kirk, I was bringing that up, and prayers go out to his family. They've forgotten. You're going to see a lot of people have forgotten what's happened with Trump and, and all the lies and all the new wars and everything else that Trump is starting, right? And this particular situation, I'm going to talk about immigration, but Tim Miller is going to annihilate, dismantle, and eviscerate Joe Rogan's talking point about something that Joe Rogan should have known was coming anyway. Let's get into it.
How do you operationalize resistance to something that's so profoundly unpopular, that is all the things Molly just said, but that is now been written into policy, that has now been funded by all the congressional Republicans laying over for Donald Trump?
Yeah, this funding, that's an important part of it, Nicole, what I wanted to kind of talk about to add on to all this, because Trump is only turning up the heat on this, right? Like the actions around immigration and ICE, just because he's gone underwater on this issue in the polls does not mean that they are going to slow down on their operations at all. Just the opposite. And yesterday they rolled out these new kind of fascist trucks and cars that have Trump's name on it with Defend the Homeland. These kind of blood and soil type cars that they're going to be sending to places. They have all this additional funding for deportation centers, all this additional funding for ICE police, new people that are not going to be trained that well, something that my colleague Adrian Karaskia has been covering a lot at the Bulwark. We're going to have Dean Cain out there jumping out of vans and nabbing people, apparently.
I'm sorry. I have to just, oh my God, I'm going to have to cover this, for real, because I have to bust out laughing because, I'm sorry. Tim Miller did confront Dean Cain about all of a sudden working for ICE. Like, what is this? Like, this Man of Steel returns for ICE? Like, bro, what? Could it get any more cringier? Like, what is happening?
That he was planning on doing on Fox. So, this is not going to slow down. And so it is incumbent upon the Democrats to, I think, fight on this issue. And I think this is something that we've seen some change from over the past 8 months with the Democrats, where coming into the year, they thought immigration was a loser. Trump was popular on this issue. It's not worth fighting on. And I think kind of a combination of things, just how extreme their policies have been, the blowback to what we saw with El Salvador, people like Joe Rogan going out there. I mean, no Democrat wants to feel like they're getting to the right of Joe Rogan on immigration, right? And so I think there's a combination of things where Democrats have gotten some additional courage on this and realize that it can be a winning issue if they focus on the more extreme elements of it, the parts that regular people don't like, which is masked men jumping out of cars and nabbing people on the streets, and nabbing gardeners on the streets, nabbing people who are even American citizens in many cases. You have George Redis in California. It's that story of the veteran who got tear gassed and nabbed by ICE in California. So I think if the Democrats focus on those extreme cases, they're going to have 70-80% of the country on their side. You can see the number continue to move their direction.
It's interesting. The Epstein situation was not an issue during the Biden administration. So yes, I'm hoping by the end of this August recess that we get back September, the information will be available to us. So we're very interested in Epstein files. I think it's a bad look to have this information continuing to suppress. But there's also people involved in files. Some of them will need to be redacted. So
what you're watching is a bunch of angry constituents getting angry with their Republican representative who's trying to gas them up and about Epstein. Please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Things that every eye that lands on these videos. This is what you're watching. You can hear him in the background like boo, 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 boo. I think that the only reason why, if you're not hearing anything about people complaining about, policies and stuff like that, not failures, promises not kept, whatever that means. It's because of the Charlie Kirk thing, but that'll die down and people will start remembering again. I mean, all these new wars that we're starting, I don't know how long it's going to take for it to actually hit home, but, it's just quite the thing to see. So, but people are mad. People are getting mad.
I think that the importance of this story, Tim, is that any way you try to spin it, you cannot get away from the fact that girls were sexually abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. And the fact pattern has gotten worse since Trump became president because Ghislaine Maxwell went from a low security prison to a much more comfortable prison that's so comfortable they allow the inmates to train service animals. But she's such a heinous criminal that all the programs at this lower security prison are not available to her. She's an outlier at her own prison. So anything that...
I forgot about that. They did, under this administration, Ghislaine Maxwell's at a more relaxed prison. Even if she can't do the activities, she's in a more relaxed prison. But the thing is, she would have the right to fight for that. Apparently, she was supposed to be working with this administration about something. I don't know. And, well, if y'all saying it's a hoax, I mean, she's nice enough to stay in jail. I mean, she could really say, like, well, what am I doing? Insane.
Trump or the Republican sycophants want to do to protect Trump from Jeffrey Epstein can't really be accepted by anyone with a brain or with eyes or ears because the facts are still playing out. Ghislaine Maxwell is still around. And since Trump has been president, her circumstances went from being in prison to being in a much, much less strict prison. That's a fact.
Yeah, and because of the way they've handled this, the facts are going to continue to play out all the way into 2027. And, because to John's point, a lot of this is driven by people on the right and by right media, a lot of the interest. So not all of them are going to be like waiting with bated breath for what a Democratic House potentially would do from an oversight standpoint. But I was interviewing Hakeem Jeffries last week and I asked him this. I was like, if you get the gavel, will you guys do a oversight hearing on Epstein? And the answer is obviously yes, right? They will have to because there's a cover up. We know for a fact there's a Microsoft share file that has a list of all the times Trump was mentioned. We don't know how he was mentioned or whether it's significant or insignificant, but they covered it up. And so if the Democrats ever gain power again, they will obviously want to look at that information and that will reveal other information about maybe other people. And, the media cycle will continue again. And so they've handled this in such a way that it's not going to go away. And I think interestingly, they've handled it in such a way that the House Republicans, the congressional Republicans, maybe more broadly, I think, are carrying the biggest political brunt because they don't have that shield of Donald Trump, where the voters are kind of mad at Trump, right? But they're like, oh, well, is it Pam Bondi's fault? Is it the House Republicans' fault? Like, we can't get mad at Trump over this, the core Trump supporters. And so what you have here is these congressional Republicans who just look so weak. Like, they're not doing what they promised their voters they would do, what Mike Johnson promised voters he would do over and over again. And they're running away at this time where you see Trump kind of out there. He's at least doing stuff. He's doing the Putin summit. He's doing various other, things where he's at least staying visible because he's Donald Trump and he won't ever go away even for a second. And so, to vote, I've seen this in MAGA media outlet. They're like, where is Congress? Like, Congress has been gone hiding because of this Epstein story for weeks now. They're doing nothing. They're not advancing any of our interests and they're, not giving us this Epstein information. Trump has really put them in a pickle in particular, I think.
I mean, he's right about all of that too. The thing is, if you really want to know what Congress is doing whatever Israel wants it to do. I mean, that's just the only time they work together. I mean, let's just keep it real, especially under this Trump administration. So, I mean, it is what it is. He hit it on the nail about everything. And I don't know. But I don't think that the Democrats are going to win, though, believe it or not. Even with all this anger, I don't think the Democrats are going to win. The Democrats aren't providing anything. You don't even hear people really talking about Democrats. By the way, if they did come into power, they wouldn't put out the Epstein files. I don't think people understand where these Epstein files are and actually what's up with them. But I'm not going to say it here on this show. Charlie Kirk kind of did. Well, he's not here anymore. God rest his soul. Yeah, so, I just... the gaslighting is just constant. Like I said, I don't see Democrats doing anything. They got Jasmine Crockett running around, and that's it. The only Democrat who gets talked about is like Jasmine Crockett and Ilhan Omar because everybody's going after her. What is this government anymore? I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.